What's up, everybody? It's the Bowtie Boss. I'm here at Title Boxing Schaumburg with none other than longtime veteran judge, longtime veteran referee, maybe even much more longer time NHB fighter, Mr. Rob Hinds of Combat Consulting. How you doing today? As we were discussing, one of the more missed aspects of the referee, fighter, trainer, coach relationship is communication. Usually you get a rules meeting or one-on-one rules meeting, but the communication doesn't end there. Can you explain a little bit about the communication between the referee, the fighter, and the coach?
Sure. Really communication is the key to all of it. If you let them know ahead of time exactly what you expect, what the rule is, how it defines, and most importantly, how you're going to handle it at the time that it happens. A lot of those challenges that come in between bouts and the unsurety of everything, those go away the better you communicate.
Right.
So communicating ahead of time in the locker room with both the fighter and the trainers is immensely helpful. And then once you're in the cage with the fighters, that communication has to continue.
Yeah.
If you have fighters that are in a stalemate and they don't realize they're in a stalemate, and all of a sudden you restart them to their feet, that's a surprise that really shouldn't happen. You need to let them know exactly what you need them to do, and if they do it, they need to continue. If they don't, then you take action, but all that has to be communicated.
Certainly. So as a referee, your ultimate goal is to not be seen nor heard and nobody even knows you exist. But, let's face it, oftentimes you do have to get involved. How do you use that communication to start that involvement?
No, that's great. So I have different levels of the way I handle it, and a lot of the trainers do as well, and this is what we teach. There's something that's called what you would call a soft warning. Basically, without anybody knowing, without anybody really hearing or seeing, you let the fighters know, gentlemen, I need you to work. It's a soft warning.
Right.
Then there's another warning where maybe a fighter grabs a cage. This is what I call a hard or medium warning. I take their hand, I slap it off, I say, don't grab the cage.
Right.
And then there's a hard warning. This is when you're going to stop the action, you're going to evaluate an injured fighter, you're going to separate the action and really make it clear exactly what needs to go on.
Gotcha.
So with all those different warnings in place, you could keep the bout going smoothly without always stopping the action, always point deducting, because there's procedures that need to take place.
Right. So in the reverse, how about communication between the fighter and coach to the referee? Coach yelling from the seat about, he's holding a fence or something like that. How do you feel about coaches and fighters letting you know something that you might not see or something that they're just flat out making up?
You know what? That's part of what we do. As being a competitor and trainer and that sort of thing, your job as a coach and as a fighter is to get the most out of what you want out of the bout.
Right.
So of course you're going to tell the referee, oh, he's grabbing the cage, stand him up. As a referee, you have to have the integrity of, if you see something, address it. Right. If you don't, it doesn't exist.
Gotcha.
Now, the more experienced you get as a referee, the better you're going to be at that. But yeah, there are some geniuses out there, whether coaches or fighters, that actually coax inexperienced or unconfident referees into doing exactly what they need them to do.
Right. Now, one thing that an experienced coach does, and it happened in a recent UFC where I think it was Joel Romero, his corner took an extra 30 seconds on a buzzed fighter to buy him more time.
Yeah.
As a referee, you should really be in second, right? The commission needs to get that guy out of there. They tap the thing and say you got 10 seconds. As a referee, what's your role in getting those people out or not getting them out?
Well, when you do have inspectors, which are those commission people that are in the cage, they're supposed to get those people out when the 10-second knock comes. Now, if we don't have inspectors in the cage, then it's up to us, the referee, to get them out. Again, you use the warning system. Verbal,
right.
Gentlemen, you need to get out. Then you get to the physical, where I hook them by the arm, and I've hooked you by the arm before. You just kind of escort them. And then there's a hard warning. You need to leave now or else I'm going to penalize you.
Certainly. So as a coach, I've done things like, oops, knocked over the ice bucket. What am I going to do, right? I got to clean it up. I forgot the towel in the locker room or whatever it is. And as a coach, we try to find that thin line as well. So is there then a warning system that's in place too for, when you see those coaches infractions, not the fighter infraction, but the coaches acting crazy?
Yeah, one of the things that people don't understand is it's really hard to punish a fighter for their coach's mistakes or
Right.
their strategy or whatever you want to call it. So really that's when the license comes into play.
Right.
You would go to the athletic commission and they would suspend the license of that corner person to not allow you back in that corner for a certain period of time, giving you time to think about what you've done.
Absolutely.
It's really hard to penalize the fighter, although sometimes it does come to that. But you really want to punish the person that is making the infraction.
Right.